Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Talk of the Town podcast. Here we are today on another Why Not Wednesday. If you want your questions answered right here on the pod, like in today's video, make sure to hit my DMs or on TikTok, anything at Talk of the Town _pod on my socials to have your questions answered right here every single Wednesday. Again, that is at Talk of the Town _pod, and it's also in my description below. So let's get right into the first question here today. And that is, you don't seem to be very high on JJ McCarthy, and I wonder why. Is it because he doesn't fit in the system, or you just don't think he'll be a good quarterback? I think you're wrong about McCarthy, and he'll be great this year. Well, in terms of him fitting in the system or being a good quarterback, it's not the question marks of whether he'll be a good quarterback, because he was drafted high for a reason. He has extreme boomer bust potential, so there's already a lot of question marks. And here's the thing is, a lot of people seem to be getting on McCarthy for the amount of question marks people have with him. They're like, well, why do people get on him so much? Trust me, a majority of these quarterbacks still have question marks. Caleb Williams, coming into the season, can he really play? I mean, his offense, he has no excuses now. Last year, the organization was just an absolute mess. They had really high expectations and just completely did not live up to them at all. It completely flopped, but they went on, they got Ben Johnson, and they really seemed like they turned the ship around. So it's all up to Caleb Williams now. There's massive question marks there with him. You know, anyone who knows me knows I'm a Patriots fan. And Drake May still has question marks. I mean, Drake May didn't play the full season last year, and it just on an absolutely awful team that had zero expectations at all. You know, it's different than Caleb Williams, because Caleb Williams had legitimate expectations. The Patriots had zero. The Patriots were absolutely awful last year. You know, here's the thing now. New head coach. He's kind of in the same position as Caleb Williams. New head coach. Upgraded receiving core. Upgraded offensive line. Just an upgraded team in general with legitimate playoff aspirations now. There's a lot of people who have them in the playoffs, whether it's the lowest seed or the 7th seed, the 6th seed, whatever. They have them in the playoffs. So, or at least competing for a playoff spot. So Drake May really has to go out there and prove it this year. There's question marks out there with him with that. You know, Jane Daniels obviously doesn't really have any question marks after the year he had. He's not really going to have any. And, you know, he absolutely deserves so. He had a great year last year, really proved could be a Hall of Fame caliber player, at least at his peak. So, and Bo Nix, the same way. Bo Nix doesn't really have any question marks. The only question mark I have personally for Bo Nix is now they actually legitimately have, I mean, they did have a really good roster last year, but it feels different this year. They have a pretty loaded roster this year, especially on our defense. The question mark I have for Bo Nix is how high can he take his ceiling now? Because that's the thing with him. And I kind of knew he was going to be good coming out of the draft. Like, we all knew he was going to be good. He was the most pro-ready quarterback coming out of the draft, right? You could argue maybe him or Penix, but probably go with Nix as the most pro-ready for sure. And that's kind of the thing with him. And that's what I'm saying is, well, how high can he take his ceiling now? Because he was good last year, but can he go from good to great? Like, he was not a great quarterback last year at all, but he was a good quarterback, which is obviously a good thing. You're not going to complain about that. If you're trying to win the Super Bowl, you want a great quarterback, not necessarily a good quarterback. So I'd be really curious to see how much higher he can take his ceiling. Have we maybe seen him peak out? Because, you know, those other guys, Williams, May, whoever it is, even McCarthy could catch up to him, and all of a sudden he's not necessarily seen as some of the higher ups in that class like he is his rookie year, but he'll still be good. I mean, I just really want to see how high he can take his ceiling in the NFL. That's all. But, and here's the thing with McCarthy, and you said, I think he could absolutely be a good quarterback. The question mark isn't necessarily whether he can be a good quarterback. It is the system. You mentioned the system. The system is a lot different. Obviously, we know at Michigan, he was in an extremely run-heavy offense with Jim Harbaugh and Blake Corum and that team there. I'll read his stats from just 22 to 23 because that's really the main years he played. 2022, this isn't the year they won the Natty. He had a 64% completion percentage, 2,700 yards passing, 22 touchdowns to 5 picks. 2023, the year they won the Natty, 72% completion percentage, 22 touchdowns to 4 picks. So literally around the exact same touchdown to interception ratio. He did throw for about 200 more yards. He was literally just shy of 3,000 yards. So, but his completion percentage was up. And if you see, he can pass. There's no doubt. And if anyone's sitting there wondering if he's a good passing quarterback, it's wrong. I mean, he's a good passing quarterback. There's a reason why he went so high in the draft as it is. But it's how efficient can he be, and how good of a passer is he in a pass-heavy offense? Because Kevin McConnell is, we seen it last year in the playoffs, and why they looked terrible against the Rams. So people kind of slam McConnell a little bit, and he understood, and we'll see what he does this year with it. But he's always been like it, even with Kirk Cousins and everything. He's going to be a pass-heavy coach. He is. That's his system, is passing the ball. Dude, they just traded for Adam Thielen this morning, so this is actually a good time to answer this question, which makes you think even more. They're going to pass the ball a lot. You're throwing to Justin Jefferson, who you know is going to want the ball. Jordan Addison, one of the best number 2s in the league. Adam Thielen, one of the best number 3s in the league now. I mean, he had a 1,000-yard season a couple of years ago with Carolina. He's looked very good with Carolina still. So, I mean, TJ Hawkinson, one of the better tight ends in the league. Aaron Jones out there in the backfield who can pass catch pretty well. McCarthy's going to be passing. I've seen some people say, well, they're going to shift the system a little bit for him. No, McCarthy's going to be passing the ball. He's going to be passing it a pretty good bit. And that's the thing, is he has extreme shoes to fill. Caleb Williams is kind of in the same boat, but it's not nearly to the extent of what I feel like McCarthy's being thrown into right now. Because McCarthy, they had a 14-3 season last year, game off of the number 1 seed. They would have beat the Lions. I'm pretty sure they would have had the number 1 seed the last week or two. And, you know, the Bears were terrible last year. And while the Bears had kind of high expectations, high hopes last year, no one was surprised the Bears didn't live up to it, to be completely honest with you. And it's not like Caleb Williams had a bad season. I think he had like 19 touchdowns to 5 picks or something like that. He was just kind of lackluster, to be honest with you. If you watch him, the stats kind of don't tell the whole tale, to be honest with you. Excuse me. They don't kind of tell the whole tale. They kind of, I mean, if you watched him, the offense was pretty much at a standstill, but the organization was a clown show. Eberflus, between the interim head coach, and just, yeah, it all just completely went south for him quick. I think if they could, they would maybe take back the Rome Odunze pick that year, number 9. They probably would. They would have spent it definitely on an offensive lineman last year for sure. I've seen some talks about that. I think they absolutely would have. And he's filling in for a guy that threw for 35 touchdowns, 12 picks, 4,300 yards, and a career year for him. I mean, he had a 102 passer rating, and he was an MVP candidate. I mean, Sam Darnold had it's just an insane year last year. And he's a gunslinger. That's the guy Kevin O'Connell likes. He will throw the ball 50 yards down the field. He has a cannon of an arm. He can move. And that's kind of the rumors. And what scares me a little bit is the trust in the building for JJ McCarthy. They went and signed Carson Wentz a couple of days ago. It's okay. Of course, any team wants to have a good backup. But they go on to trade Sam Howell. Sam Howell's not an NFL caliber quarterback. You watch him, he's just a mess out there. He really is genuinely a mess. Carson Wentz, I don't know, the signing just feels like there's a little something there. Now, whether or not you think there is completely up to you. But to me, it feels like there's a little something there between whether there's a trust in the building or not. They wanted to keep Darnold. And there was a lot of rumors last year saying, dude, should they trade McCarthy? There was rumors about him getting traded to Las Vegas, Cleveland. I mean, there was a lot of rumors there about him getting traded because they wanted to keep Darnold. And they had an offer up for him this offseason, by the way. They did. They had an offer up for Darnold. They were willing to bring him back. Now, I don't know what they would have done with McCarthy. I'm assuming they probably would have traded him, especially if they would have signed him the 4 years. There's no way they would have ended up keeping JJ McCarthy. They could maybe end up getting, I don't know if they could get a first-round pick back for McCarthy. I don't know. They could at least get a second-round pick. Teams are desperate for quarterbacks. His extreme boomer bust potential. But that's what I'm saying with the trust in the building with JJ McCarthy. I don't know why I just got so dark in my room. Sorry if you guys see that on the podcast, why I just got so dark. I don't know why. But anyway, yeah, the trust in the building for McCarthy seems a little slim, to be completely honest with you. Coming into this season, it still feels a little slim, and the expectations are extremely high. He is filling in some massive shoes. Like, kind of like I was mentioning earlier with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams has high expectations this year. But JJ McCarthy, the shoes he has to fill coming off a 14-3 season, a team that honestly could win the Super Bowl. The Minnesota Vikings could win the Super Bowl. I think if they had Darnold, they would actually be some of the favorites to get in there. I haven't checked the odds for the Vikings, but I'm assuming they're probably pretty high even with McCarthy anyway. So definitely, it's not that I don't trust McCarthy, but I just would really like to see him in this offense. And he's on a short leash in Minnesota. I can tell you that. If they end up disappointing, finishing last, finishing 7-10, he has a lackluster year, they could maybe ship him out of Minnesota next year. I'm going to be completely honest with you, because Minnesota looks like they want to win now. And I don't think they're going to mess around with McCarthy long if he's going to go. And I mean, what happens if he gets injured again for a majority of this year? I mean, what are they going to do? They can't keep messing around with an injury-prone quarterback. Excuse me. So there's a lot on the table for McCarthy. McCarthy has some really, really high expectations. So it's strange. The Minnesota Vikings, it could go very bad or very good for them this year. I hope it goes good. I hope any team plays good. I want McCarthy to be good in the NFL, but we'll see for sure. Next question I have here is, Steelers fan here. I seen yesterday Terry McLaurin ended up back with the Commanders, but I couldn't help but think, what if he would have ended up with the Steelers? How do you think that would have went? Well, I think if McLaurin would have ended up with the Steelers would be viewed very differently coming into next week. Literally next week. I mean, we're a week and a half out from all these teams playing their full slate of games on Sunday, man. We are right there here today, and we're a week out from our first game. So a lot could have changed. Now, I said I didn't think McLaurin was getting traded to the Steelers or just anywhere else. I had a feeling he was going to go back to the Commanders. I talked about that yesterday more in depth. So if you want to check that out, check out my video yesterday I posted. I think that offense would have gained some serious firepower. He may not necessarily be the most flashy receiver, the most physically dominant receiver. He is just consistent. And that's all you can ask for in the NFL, is to have a guy who's consistent. Because that's the thing that kills teams in the NFL to me, is when you have a bunch of inconsistent players, a bunch of inconsistent receivers, you're kind of screwed, to be honest with you. Because you have one game they look good, and you go on like a 4-game stretch of your offense is just completely terrible. Your offense is almost non-existent. And then you'll have a couple games where it's like, okay, that team's offense is finally moving now. Look, these players are playing great. And then they go back to just being completely obsolete again. So inconsistency in the NFL, to me, is a team's worst nightmare, because you get glimpses of hope and you feel like everything's going great, and then it just literally comes to shoot you in the foot the next game or even the next play in the game. So that's the only thing you can ask for, is to have a consistent player, and McLaurin's about the best of the best at getting a consistent receiver. And he's great. I mean, that's the guy who could potentially go for 1,400 yards, especially with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers may not be what he was a few years ago, but he is going to sling the rock back there. He still has an amazing arm. I mean, he does. He still just slings it. He was good at the end of the Jets last year. The end of the Jets season last year, he was still pretty good. I mean, he had a rough start to the season, to be honest with you. We all know he did, and that kind of led to the downfall of the Jets, but he played pretty good at the end of the year. I mean, he had some rough patches. I think it'll be better on the Steelers. One, because I just think the Jets are just a clown show. To be completely honest with you, they are. We all know that. They have been for years. A very long time. But yeah, McLaurin with the Steelers would have probably boosted them into the playoffs for a lot of people. Now, they're obviously going to be competing for a playoff spot. As long as you have Mike Tomlin and a really good defense like they have, they're going to be competing for a playoff spot. Now, whether or not they make it to the playoffs is one thing, because there's going to be a couple teams in the AFC that go 9-8 or 10-7 and might not make the playoffs. That could easily be Pittsburgh. They may not have and it may come down to record division, and they may not have a very good in-division record. Now, they played good against their division, but they drop a couple games to the Bengals, maybe one to the Browns, to the Ravens. It's going to come back and kill and bite them in the ass, to be completely honest with you. It is. So, yeah, and I really thought the Steelers were going to get Amari Cooper. I would have liked them to get Amari Cooper, to be completely honest with you. I would have liked to see them get another receiver, even Keenan Allen. I thought they were going to get Keenan Allen. I think they were really banking on getting Terry McLaurin, to be honest with you. I've heard some rumors they threw up a first-round pick for Terry McLaurin. Now, whether or not that's true, I don't know. I would have liked to think maybe the Commanders would have traded Terry McLaurin for a first-round pick. I'm pretty sure they would have been all over that, so I don't necessarily think that's true, but I'm sure they threw up some offers for Terry McLaurin. I'm 100% positive they did. They've been very big in the trade deadline recently. Well, I guess not the deadline, but the trade market. You get my point. Yeah, they've been very big in that. I mean, you see what they traded for Metcalf and offered him $1 gazillion. So I don't know. I think the Steelers' offense is going to be their downfall. I think they do need another receiver. Like I said, I really would have liked to see them get Amari Cooper, just kind of as an insurance pickup. I mean, if they didn't get McLaurin, well, they have Cooper and Metcalf. I mean, even though Cooper may not necessarily be what he was a few years ago, I still really like him as a receiver. It didn't work out in Buffalo for him, and that's okay. I think a full season with a team, especially like Pittsburgh, I think it would have worked out for him. So I'm a little disappointed. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter to me because I'm not a fan of Pittsburgh, but I can imagine Pittsburgh fans are probably a little disappointed, especially me. I mean, even though I'm not a fan, I'm a little disappointed they didn't pick up another receiver. I mean, just for their team in general. You'd like to see a team get another receiver when they need another one, and they didn't. So I got to see who is all still out there for free agency for receivers. I'm sure there's probably another couple out there that could be serviceable, but I think some of the best ones are pretty much gone. Next question I have is, hey man, I actually seen the end of your video yesterday. I hope this makes it to the Why Not Wednesday tomorrow, but I'm starting college next week. And do you have any advice for me getting started? Well, I'll say this. Just literally all you have to do is just do the work. Because the second you don't do it and you decide, I really don't feel like doing this today, trust me, bro. I'm going to tell you this. I failed 7 courses in college my first year of college. I took 7 and failed all 7 of them. And it's not because I wasn't smart or anything like that. It was just bad decision making. It was just being lazy. Yeah, it was and procrastinating. That's what I was looking for. Procrastinating and being lazy. Just bad decisions. And so you're going to have days, especially in November and December, you are really not going to want to do schoolwork, man. You feel the end of it coming, and your grade may be good, whether or not you have a B or an A, a C, whatever you have. You have a passing grade, and you're like, okay, I might be able to miss this assignment. Don't do it. Do not do it. Make every assignment count. Just turn it in, because the second you start missing assignments, it's over, man. And the second you miss 2 weeks of schoolwork, anything, it's over. Stay on it. Push through it, because I'll tell you, when you click that submit button on that assignment, you're good. You don't ever have to worry about doing that assignment ever again in your life. Even if you get a D on it, you still get some sort of credit for it. That's a problem I had in high school and middle school and stuff, and I've learned from it over the years. I'm telling you, especially I'm 21 years old now. I've learned from those mistakes, and it's held me back for a lot of things, academically wise and everything. It had absolutely nothing to do with how smart I was at all. Yeah, I'm not just I'm being dead serious, and I'm sure that goes for a majority of people out there who just don't turn in schoolwork. Just get lazy. You just don't want to do it, and you look to scrape by. That was my whole intention, was just to scrape by. I didn't care about getting straight A's, B's, or anything. But in college, it's important to stay on top of your stuff, man. Especially, I got my next college course again tomorrow. I had one yesterday, and yeah, I mean, that's the main piece of advice I can give you, dude, is do not get lazy. Do not get lazy, because it catches up to you in college so fast, and you start making little excuses for yourself to not do more and more schoolwork. So stay on every single assignment, because I'm telling you, it goes by. Eventually the semester will be over, you'll get your break, and it sucks. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, doing those college assignments sometimes, you have some fun assignments. To be honest with you, I found some assignments really enjoyable. Now, depending on what degree you're taking, I don't know what you're taking, how passionate you are about it. I was not passionate at all when I first started college, right? I mean, I had zero passion. I was burnt out completely from school. I really didn't want to go at first and everything. And that's why I ended up flunking so bad. But I had some serious passion in the past. Now, I don't know whether or not you're burnt out from high school or not. You obviously, you know how you feel. Whether or not you're burned out from high school, man, just get the semester over with. And, whether or not, I don't know who's paying for your college, whether it's you, your parents, or grandparents, whatever, whether you're on a full ride scholarship, just take it in stride. Don't worry about semester to semester. Don't worry about taking your classes next semester. Worry about this semester. Turn in every single piece of assignment you have, whether or not you get a 50, a 60, even a 40, a 70, dude, you get some sort of credit. The second you get zeros on it, it's over. You literally get nothing for it. Your grade just tanks. You're better off getting a 40 than a 0. And honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, as long as you turn in the work and show some sort of effort in college, you're going to get a passing grade on it. If it's just the main line of assignments, quizzes, and obviously your finals, you can't just kind of go in and guess and they'll give you a 90 for trying. Obviously not. But in terms of assignments, this just feels like the main part of your grade. And it all comes down to your professor as well. If you have a shitty professor, to be honest with you, it's going to make your class kind of hell. I'm not going to lie. It does. And that's the whole thing of college. And so the main thing people talk about is you need a good professor. And you do. I mean, even if you have a decent professor, you'll be perfectly fine. But if you do have a bad professor, it's going to make it a little more difficult. And I'm being 100% up and honest with you. 100% up and honest. And it's going to be more difficult if you have a bad professor. It just is. But it's okay. Again, you turn in the schoolwork, you show effort, you show up. That's all you got to do in life. It's literally just show some sort of effort and show up. And I've learned that in the last year or so of my life. Definitely, man. And I've had my parents and everything hound into me for that, saying, all you got to do is just turn it in, put in the effort. All you do is literally show up. And guess what I did? I literally, some days I literally just refuse to show up. I don't feel like doing it. And I've learned from that. You learn from it as you get a little older, and that's okay. Learn from your mistakes too, man. That's all I got to say is you got this. I'm saying you got this. Turn in your schoolwork, show up, show even a little bit of effort. They'll pass you, man. I promise. And study hard too. Your quizzes mean a lot as well. Those are the ones you can't just show effort on and kind of flunk and say, hey, I did it. She'll give me an 80 on it at least now. You do have to study for sure. Put in the time, man. If you put in the time, it will come back to really benefit you. That's one thing. If you always put in the time to anything, it will never fail you. I promise. So you got this. And good luck on your first semester of college. Make sure to let me know how it goes. Last question here today is, hey man, loving your podcast so far. Kind of surprising you only have 81 subs. Keep up the good work. My question for you is, if you could go back to any year in your lifetime in the NFL, which one would it be? Oh man, that's a really good question. That is an extremely good question. To be honest with you, especially as a Patriots fan, you kind of know what year I'm going to say. Any of their Super Bowl years, I'd say the 2 years I really liked, and I'll say another year that's not necessarily a Patriots Super Bowl winning year that I really enjoyed, and I'm putting some honorable mentions as well. If I could go back to any year, I would go back probably to 2014, the year they beat the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. The Malcolm Butler had that crazy interception. That was a really good year for football, man. You had some amazing players in there. We had Russell Wilson just smacking his prime. And it just, the NFL was booming, man. I mean, honestly, I miss, even though the Patriots almost lost, I miss the Legion of Boom in that Seahawks team. God, were they fun to watch or what? That team was so fun to watch. I really enjoyed that. Prime Russell Wilson was really a movie, to be honest with you. That was a movie right there to watch. You had some Julio Jones. You had just great players. Brady, obviously, in his prime. For me, that was some of the golden years of my life right there. Brady in his prime. So I'd say 2014. If I had to give it an honorable mention, I'd go to the year, obviously, they beat the Falcons in the Super Bowl, but that's strictly just for that Super Bowl alone. They obviously had a great regular season, but man, that Super Bowl had me stressed. I mean, I was pretty much out of it. Obviously, by halftime, I was like, wow, we are literally getting blown out by the Falcons. I mean, it looked like the dynasty looked like it might have been over at that point. They really turned the ship around that game, obviously, the greatest comeback maybe in sports history. And yeah, that was just an absolutely incredible game to watch. I'd say some honorable mention years. Surprisingly enough, you know what year was really fun to watch? I really like 2021, the year with the Rams and the Bengals Super Bowl. That was a pretty fun year to watch. I'm going to be completely honest, man. Cooper Kupp had that insane year, one of the greatest. You can even hold the greatest receiving year of all time if you want. Really understand. I'd say it very well could be. The Patriots made the playoffs with Mac Jones. I know I'm a little biased with the years due to my team, and you feel the same way. If your team did great, you'd absolutely look back on that year, even with rose-tinted glasses. Patriots got blown out in the playoffs, but that was a fun year to watch. I really like 2015. That Denver and Panthers Super Bowl was kind of lackluster, but man, Cam had his MVP year. That was some fun stuff to watch. 2012, the Mile High Miracle. I really like that year. So 2010s was great for football. It really was. Fun stuff to watch right there. But I'd probably pick 2014 or 2017 if I could go back. Oddly enough, the Cam Newton year in New England, I really like 2020. Brady played Mahomes in the Super Bowl. That kind of had a weird element, like a weird vibe, but I kind of liked it. I don't know if I'm the only one who's liked that, but I kind of did. So those are kind of the years I'd pick. I wouldn't pick any of the last few years, to be honest with you. They haven't necessarily been my favorite, obviously. I haven't necessarily liked the Super Bowls as much. That's just my opinion, but yeah, I'd say 2014 or 2017 for sure. Honorable mentions to 21, 15, 2012. Now, I'd be curious to hear your guys' years. So if you guys have any years you'd like to leave in the comments, let me know. And that's it for today's podcast. If you have not hit that subscribe button, please make sure to hit that for me. As we're on the road to 100 subscribers. We're at 85 at the time of recording this. So hope you guys enjoyed the video today, and I'll see you guys in the next one.